Apostle Dr. Michael McCain. Thank you for tuning in. You're watching the Full Gospel Experience.
One more time, and I'm going to give you my subtopic. My subtopic is, I can see clearly now. Look at your neighbor and tell your neighbor, I can see clearly now. Amen. As we approach Habakkuk, Habakkuk says, I will set on my watch. And for some of us, I would like to start right there, is that our objective in our place in God is that we have to get back to watching as well as praying. And many of us are not in that place anymore. We're not praying as we used to in the church, and we're not getting before God and laying before God how we used to lay before God, spending that quality time in prayer, not just the quality time in prayer, but spending more time in the Word. We're not in that place anymore. And some of us, we're just so busy. And I know that we have lives, we have family, we have jobs, we have everything that we have to take care of, but we have to get back to getting on our watch. Look at your neighbor and tell your neighbor, neighbor, get back on your watch.
Get back on your watch.
Habakkuk said, I will stand on my watch, and I will set me upon the tower, and I will watch to see what he would say unto me. So the first thing I want you to understand and know is that prayer is a place of watching. And prayer is not just a place of watching. I know that when we get into prayer, we like to jump into prayer. And God, this is me. And God, this is my need. And God, this is what I'm going through. But there's a place in prayer where we must watch. And there's a place in prayer where not only after we have watched, but we wait for God to speak back to us. Anybody know what I'm talking about? That when we get in prayer, it's not just, God, this is my need, my need, my need. God, this is what I'm going through. This is what's going on around me. But God, I need you, that when I get in prayer, I need you to speak back to me, so that when I get up off my face, I can see clearly where I need to go. I need clear direction. Anybody with me this morning? I need some clear cut direction. And some of you may be wondering, why am I talking about this on this morning? Because we have survived 2009, and we're about to go into another year, 2010. Come on. And when I go into this year, 2010, I need God to give me some clear cut direction. Come on. I don't need to be wishy-washy in 2010. I need God to show me exactly what you need me to do, exactly where you need me to go, exactly who you need me to connect with. Look at your neighbor and tell your neighbor, I can see clearly now. And so Habakkuk says, I will set on my watch, and I will watch to see what he says unto me. And in verse 2, it says, and the Lord answered me and said, write the vision. Write the vision. There comes a period and a time and a place where we are in prayer, where God shows us things. It's not always that he speaks, but sometimes when we're in a place of prayer, he will drop something in your spirit. You will start seeing yourself in a place where you know you are not now. And when you see that vision, when you're in prayer, to your natural understanding and to your natural eye, it looks merely impossible. And we're looking at things and we're saying, God, that's so far ahead of me. And I come to let you know this morning, God is speaking some right now things, but we're looking at it and we're saying it's so far ahead of us. That's me 5 years from now. That's me 3 years from now. That's me 10 years from now. And we're saying, God, I see what you're saying to me, but there's so much in between. Where's the in between? Because it's only in our human nature we want to know the answers from A to Z.
Yes, Lord.
And when we get in a place of prayer, God may only speak to you and say, do this. And it seems like we're just hanging out there on a limb. And we're like, okay, God, I don't know whether if I should, and I don't know whether if I should do this or not. And we're still guessing, we're still questioning, we're calling people for confirmations. Come on, we go in to see prophets and we want to get on prayer lines and wait and hope that we receive a confirmation, but yet we're not moving.
That's right.
Huh? We talked about last week the spirit of awakening. That God needs to awaken our spirit. We know what he's told us to do. We've already seen the vision. We already have a plan. We already have some direction with what we need to do. But now, as we said last week, a dream is only as good as the person who's still asleep. So as long as you stay asleep, daydreaming about what you're going to do and never wake up and do it is just as good as a dream. Huh? But if we ever awaken in our spirit and start going forth doing the things that God has put in us to do, then we'll see the vision come to pass.
Amen.
Some of us, we don't need another confirmation. We already know what we need to do.
God has taken care of me.
We already know the answer. Not another confirmation. God is already doing it. So what is a vision? When I think of vision, I think of sight. And I don't just think of sight, but I also think of dreaming. I also think of that spiritual sight that we have, that when we go to sleep, we dream. We see things. And sometimes we wake up with detailed dreams. Some of us can remember what we dream about, and some of us know that we saw something, but we can't quite remember it. But there is a state that our spiritual body goes into when we sleep, and it's called dreams and visions. And God speaks through dreams and visions, and he allows us to get a glimpse of what he's getting ready to do. And why is it so important that we stay in prayer? It's important that we stay in prayer because a lot of times it's not always exactly what you see. But there may be parts in those dreams and visions that you need God to give you a spiritual interpretation of. Amen? Amen. And so if we stay in the face of God, it won't be so easy to make mistakes. And a lot of things we can't go asking people because they might not know. Huh? We have to develop that personal relationship with God. Because a lot of us, if I can be truthful, we mess ourselves up looking for confirmation. Amen. We mess ourselves up calling different people and going to different people and saying, you know what, I saw this or I dreamed this, and what do you think? That person was not the person that received the message. Amen. That doesn't mean that there are not people out there with gifts to interpret, but we have to be more sensitive to know who to bring our stuff to. Amen. That's right. Think about the story of Joseph. When Joseph told his brothers his dream, what happened to Joseph? His brothers, out of their jealousy and misunderstanding of his dream, did what? Decided to get rid of him. They didn't quite know what was going to happen to Joseph and how God was going to use him, but out of the jealousy that they picked up out of the dream, that look, we're going to have to serve you. You have to be crazy. Huh? And some of us, our family and our friends and people that we connect with, they're looking at us like that because you're telling them portions of what God has shown you, and they're saying, you going to be rich? Yeah, right. You going to be financially stable, debt-free? Yeah, right. You going to have a mega ministry? Yeah, right. We have to be careful who we tell our dream and our vision to. Why? Because the enemy will send agents.
Lord has in store for you. Don't get your kids.